welcome back to Frecuencia Interna. I'm Juliette Galindo. This is my first interview. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Today we have someone very special in the building, someone I admire a lot. I found her first on Instagram. Please welcome Chez Peachy.
Hello! I'm so excited to be here.
And so for everyone that doesn't know you today, what's your name or what do you go by that people can call you?
Yeah, so I would have to say most people, it really varies. My actual name is Krista LeBron Garcia, but usually people will either call me Peachy, most of them will say Chez Peachy, or if they want to make me feel cool, they will call me Chez, which I'm not used to, but I really do love because it's something that, of course, in the French culture, you would not call somebody by because it's the word Chez doesn't mean like a nickname. It's actually meaning you're at someone's place. So it's definitely very interesting, but I think my favorite is Peachy because I feel so cute and just sweet. And I'm like, oh, thank you, you know? So yeah, those are the names.
Yeah, so explain to everyone that doesn't know you, what do you do exactly? What is it that you're known for on Instagram?
Yeah, so I would have to say I'm mostly recognized for our bento cakes, which is a concept that came in 2019, I would say, more or less. But bento cakes are basically 4-inch personal cakes, and it's something that you won't really find very often, let's say in grocery stores or even bakeries for the matter. I think it's mostly just small business owners who are just coming to discover this that want to do it. But that's the biggest thing that we're recognized for because it's so unique and it's really not something that you'll see very often, so it piques people's interest automatically. And not only that, but when you hear the term bento, if you're really cultured within the Japanese culture and things like that, then perhaps you might know what the term bento means, which I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that it means like something cute and small, like they sell bento boxes, so it has little compartments and things like that, but with bento cakes, it's just a cute small personal cake, so I guess that's the number one thing that catches people's eye automatically. And not only that, but our brand is very vibrant and colorful, so our brand will not go unnoticed. If you see me walking on the street selling some things at a pop-up, then definitely we will make sure that our brand automatically stands out because our values predominantly go around bright and colorful things because for me, it projects a lot of positive and joyful energy, and that's what I really want for our customers to recognize us by. So, and I think we hit the mark, fingers crossed. So yeah.
Yeah, because that's how I came to find out about you. Awesome. I saw your bento cakes, and they're like Y2K themed. They're
yes.
of like Polly Pocket, which you never see things about her
right?
anymore. Hello Kitty. And I know like a lot of people that I'm friends with, they love your cakes, and it's specifically for that it's very unique, and you can't really find that in Tucson a lot, where it's like really cute cakes, and then they're also not that expensive.
Thank you
for all the work that you put into them.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy you said that because not everybody's on the same page as you, honey. And I'm like, well, if you don't like the price, that's not a problem. I'm always very accommodating in the end. But also, I would have to say our sweets are a luxury. They're not just something that you can get from Walmart for $5. So I'm just like, well, if that doesn't fit within your budget, then I recommend going to a grocery store. More than happy to recommend a couple within our area. So,
and I know you don't only do bento cakes, you also do other sweets. Can you explain to everyone what other sweets you make, the pricing for those?
Yes, so our other sweets that we make that we just started specializing in 2023, we launched our kawaii cookies, which are basically called cute cookies, and we wanted to do something else that sets us aside from just being like the bento cake people. And of course, bento cakes will always be our number one priority, do not get me wrong, but the cookies are a great way of reaching out to other people who might not like cake. So with the kawaii cookies, we like to feature little animals. You know, our best sellers are actually the teddy bear cookies that are chocolate chip flavored. We also have Hello Kitty, which is sugar cookie, and occasionally we might have snickerdoodle bunnies or even matcha white chocolate froggies. So for the kawaii cookies, we usually sell them at $12 a box, but actually this previous weekend, which was not something we do very often. We discounted them at $10 because we wanted to show a token of appreciation to all of our followers and supporters who have been supporting us for a while. So we discounted them at a lower price. And we do that once in a while, but not too often to the point that our customers get used to it and then they don't want to go and buy with our original price. So, but I would have to say the average pricing for our business at pop-ups are between $20 to maybe $12 or occasionally less if we want to feature an extra product. But our most popular items are definitely our bento cakes and our cookies. And then if you want to purchase something more customizable, then usually our 6-inch cakes are pretty popular, which can range over around $130 to $170. So it really just depends what they're looking for. But
and do you have any cakes bigger than the 6-inch cakes for anyone that would have a larger gathering?
Absolutely. So I would have to say the largest one we do is usually around the 8-inch. I haven't had many people ask me for 10-inch and up, and I haven't really done those as much, but I'm always open to like ideas. But usually when they're looking for like larger scale gatherings, they'll ask me for tiered cakes. So we'll do like 6-inch cakes or 8-inch cakes, you know, combined like 2-tiered or bigger if that's what they want for like a wedding or a baby shower, or if anything they'll ask for a classic 6-inch or 8-inch and accompany it with some cupcakes, which we'll order like 4 dozens and just hand them out. So that's pretty much what we usually work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I know that your most recent pop-up, you said that you guys sold out in like an hour and a half.
Yes.
Yeah.
Girl, it was crazy. I had never seen anything like that, and I will admit it's sometimes it can be a hit or miss. I think what a lot of people think is when a business like ours has a large following on Instagram, they think, oh, they're going to sell out every time and they do so great. They don't have to worry about nothing, but that's actually not the case. And luckily this past Saturday, I was blown away. And I always love to go above and beyond for our markets, like with promotions and advertising and creating reels and stories regarding that, especially with terms of graphics. You know, with our graphic designer, we like to be very descriptive, and she always nails it like on point to attract attention. And for this pop-up, I was like, okay, well, since it's my birthday weekend, let's extend it and let's do something fun, you know, to celebrate. So I was like, let's put everything at a lower price. Let's put bento cakes at $15 instead of $20, which we haven't done since 2021. So everybody's gotten used to $20. Even at times they've paid $25 or $22, but this time it was like $15. So I was like, maybe with that, we can maybe get, I don't know, 20 extra people. We'll see, you know? And then on top of that, I was like, you know what? I made myself such a big cake, so let me cut in a couple of slices, and first 15 people will get a slice of cake just for fun, you know? So maybe with that, we'll add another 15 people. So that's about 35 people supporting us, and then the odds, we'll see how it goes with the market. But then with that, I looked into it further, and I was just thinking, okay, so if we can gather people with a free slice of cake and then also with reducing the price for the bento cakes and cookies, I think we should be good. Girl, let me tell you right away, 20 minutes before the market had started, we had a line of around 15 people or so. And I wasn't even there yet. I was running late by like maybe 5 minutes or 10. And I felt so bad because people kept sending me videos like, girl, you have a line. Like, you need to be here ASAP. And I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad. But then when I got there, everybody was so nice, very welcoming, super patient. And with that, I felt so grateful. So I set everything up. And before you knew it, once we opened, it didn't stop for an hour and a half. It was me giving the people their sweets, like charging them with the square. My husband was bagging them up, and poor baby, his arm was in a sling, so he really had to go above and beyond for it, but he was more than happy to do it. And my brother-in-law was taking content and just making sure that we had all the videos because we had never seen anything like that. So it was very exciting to say the least, but this was the first that this has ever happened to us where we had a line going for an hour and a half
Yeah.
nonstop, and it was just a blessing. So I'm very grateful.
So it's not often that you guys sell out, or do you guys sell out almost every pop-up?
So I would have to say recently it just depends the pop-up. We know the pop-ups we will sell out at, and we know the pop-ups we won't. So I would have to say 80% of the time we do sell out, whether it takes 2 hours or it takes 6 hours. It can really vary. But I know the pop-ups we do tend to sell out are usually those who consist of larger scale markets like Comic-Con or MSA Annex, which is the summer night markets, or let's say the Kira Kira pop-ups. Those ones we tend to do better. But if it's on a more of a conservative scale, then usually those can take a little longer for us to sell out, or even we might come back home with a couple of items. But usually that doesn't work out too badly, because then some people might not be able to make it to the market. So they tell me, oh great, you didn't sell out, let me come pick it up at your place. Or do you offer delivery? Can you go deliver it? And we're usually very flexible. So 20% of markets we don't sell out, but lately 80% of them have been going really well. So I'm very grateful about that.
That's nice. So for young business owners wanting to start out, or people that are entrepreneurs wanting to sell their products, how do you find these markets to go and sell your product at? How far in advance do you have to book them, or how do you even find these events to go to?
Yes, so I would have to recommend for any business owner that wants to get into the area of pop-up markets, I just recommend following a lot of people that are within their area, is specifically Tucson. If you're a Tucson owner having your own business, I just recommend following people that always do markets. And if you don't know how to find them, there's me. I do markets every single week. So I always recommend to people, just look at the people I'm tagging. If you see I'm tagging MSA Annex, don't go to me and ask me how to sign up. Just go to MSA Annex and look on their website and just check it out, or see what the details are. Or if you can't find anything at all, I'm happy to help, don't get me wrong. But also with me, when I was growing my business, I didn't really press too much on people to help me. It's okay to ask for help to an extent, but to have everything served on a platter, it's not how it works. So in the end, I think it's just a matter of studying and just seeing, who am I tagging, if you want to go off of the markets I go to, or look at where other people are going, and then just check the tag and then go on their page and see if they have more information on it. And then worst case scenario, you have to send them an email and just say, hey, I'm interested in one of your pop-up markets. How do I sign up? Or look at people, other people who are tagging them, and look with them as well. There's multiple ways of looking into attending pop-up markets, but also I would recommend maybe the latest signing up 1 month, because at times if you sign up too early or too late, you might not make it. So that's what I recommend. Usually a month's notice is what pop-up markets are looking for in general. Some of them might be a little later than others, but I would have to say the bigger scale markets usually tend to go 2 to 3 months in advance to sign up.
Okay, and what inspired you to start this business and go through this journey of like having to go through pop-up markets and not having your own store or working out of your home? What inspired you to start everything?
So I would have to say the thing that really inspired me to get into all of this was being that when I first moved here, because I'm originally from Montreal, Quebec, so I'm a total outsider to the West Coast and to Arizona in general. And when I moved here, I was on unemployment first, and then a couple months later, I became a nanny. I was a nanny for 3 different families, so it was a little bit like hectic.
Wow.
And I really did go, like, I love children. I love working in the childcare industry. That's originally what I wanted to do. But eventually it got to a point where I felt like I was lacking creative freedom, and my creative juices weren't flowing as much. And I felt a little sad about that, because I've always been into arts. I've been into creating food. You know, mostly desserts. Don't get me started on cooking. I'm not a bad cook, okay, I promise. But I would say baking is my core strength. But in general, when I want to get back into baking, because I've been baking since I was 13 years old back in Canada, and I thought, okay, I'm a nanny right now, but maybe I could look a little further into baking just for fun, just to see if that's really what I want to do. And I got back into it, and with looking into, you can look up hashtags on Instagram, and it could lead you to find something like, let's say you're looking for inspiration for a party. You could put, I don't know, Disney princesses, and it'll give you a bunch of images, right? So I put hashtag cupcakes just to get a little more inspiration, because that's what I used to specialize in. That's what I started with, which was cupcakes. And out of nowhere, these little cakes came like in the hashtags of cupcakes, and I was like, what are these little cakes? Like, they're so precious, like it really piqued my interest. So I looked into it, I did a little more research, and what people told me in the hashtags and in the descriptions was they were called lunchbox cakes at the time. So there's two ways you could call these, either lunchbox cakes or bento cakes. I used to call them lunchbox cakes, but along the lines I discovered bento cakes piques more people's interest. So I looked a little further into it, did my studying, I practiced, and the first time I did them, I fell in love. I was like, I'm not even disappointed. They do not look that bad. I could sell this somewhere and people would buy these, Even if they weren't at their peak perfection yet, I was still satisfied with it. So that's when I decided to get into that. And I hadn't really opened the business yet. I guess I just really started back on my Instagram, occasionally posting. But then I just tried being more consistent with it, still having my job as a nanny. And then I think once I went into it, I just really loved it and wanted to grow more and more with it. And that's when I brought forth my love for social media and my love for the cakes. And then from there, we just went with it. I just took a leap of faith, saw where it took me, and now here we are. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
And where do you see yourself in your business in the next 5 years?
So at the moment, I see myself having a shop for sure. I'm going to put it out there because that's really the end goal. I do want a bento cake shop for myself. That's really what I want, and I do see that happening within the 5 years or maybe even less. But for now, we are taking steps to bring that further, and we will be taking a larger step this year in 2024. It's close to a shop, but not quite that yet, but it'll give us more permanence. So that's all I'm going to say.
And I know you recently started cooking outside of a kitchen at the Tucson Mall.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how it is moving from making everything from your house to going to a commercial shop, and now people can pass by and see you cooking?
Yes, absolutely. So honestly, the transition from going from working in our kitchen to working into a commercial kitchen is so much different, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity because we didn't come across this until I believe summer of 2023, and my husband saw it in the Tucson Mall and he was like, honey, I think we should look into this. But this was like back in the summertime, so I hadn't really like paid much mind to it. I was like, oh, okay. But then once it was like probably November, we decided to look further into it, and we got there just in time because they only had one more spot, and they were looking for a baker. And I was like, what are the odds?
Perfect right
yes,
there,
I was like, okay, I see you, God. I was like, opening that door for me, I will take it, and it fit within our budget because I'm not gonna lie, commercial kitchens, they don't run cheap at times, and it can be quite hard for bakers, especially if you don't have an established business, to hold onto that position in a commercial kitchen, because every month you have to pay that same price, and it can really fluctuate with your sales. And if you don't make the sales, then it can get really hard to pay for inventory and for rent, So, but with the transition for us, it went super smoothly. I would probably say the first week I went back and forth between the house and the kitchen to get things settled in because I was like, oh wait, I forgot this at the house. But honestly, everything else, the oven worked really great. We already had our commercial mixer, which was great. We could move that in. We had a refrigerator, and they let us have a part of their refrigerator as well in the kitchen, shelving. So it was really, they're very accommodating at Saka and Catalyst. So honestly, the transition was really smooth, and I'm so grateful for it. Highly recommend to any person, if you want to get out of your kitchen and you have the finances to support that, do it. If you find the place, rip off the Band-Aid. Definitely go into a commercial kitchen, but I absolutely love it.
And what are your struggles as like a young business owner, entrepreneur that you've noticed that you've had to deal with these past few years?
So I would have to say the top struggles, I think it was at first when I was working by myself, because for about 2 years, it wasn't until spring of 2023 that I started accepting help. And for the first 2 years, it was really hard on my mental health and my overall health as in general as a human being because I would barely get any sleep. I'm not the most organized person, and I have to be transparent about that because the thing is, I'm not, in general, when I'm working by myself, and that was previously, I had a hard time organizing my schedules, and I was always late to markets, and I only got 2 hours of sleep on a weekend, or I wasn't good at managing my money, and my money went back into the business all the time, which is normal. Don't get me wrong, that's very normal when you're owning a business. In the first couple years, you're not really going to make any money for yourself until probably, 5+ years down the line. Maybe sooner if things go according to what you want, but I really do believe it takes a team. So I really went through a lot of struggles with finances for myself, like learning how to budget and then being organized, being on time. Sometimes I messed up people's orders, which was always creating anxiety in me. It was very rare, but when it happened, it was the worst feeling in the world. And then having somebody tell you that, it was really like a knife in the gut. And I was just like, okay, I had to come to a point where I had to accept that. And that's normal, it's not something that won't happen within growing a business. I've also had negative, relationships with other businesses, that would create a lot of drama and just situations that made me feel very uncomfortable. But despite all of that, I would never put myself in a position where I would post on social media. I love to be transparent with my customers and my supporters, but never to a point where I would post drama on my social media and put others down. If you put me down, that's your prerogative, but I'm not going to do the same to you. That's how you can show how you could grow within your business and how your business can thrive, because if somebody does something negative to you, that doesn't mean you have to do it back. You could just really show them, I can be respectful and professional. If this is the way you want to feel, not a problem. But in the end, I'm not going to project that onto you as well. So I've had a mixing pot of negative things, but that's only like 10%, maybe 20% at most. 80% is really great. I do have a lot of support, and it really does outweigh the negative through it all. So that's pretty much what I've had to deal with.
And what's some advice that you have for someone that's wanting to start their business and be a young entrepreneur? Because I know you're only like 25 or 24.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, honestly, the best advice I would want to give to anybody wanting to start a business is just, first of all, always stay true to yourself. Staying true to yourself is so very important. You really don't have to say yes to every order that comes your way. If you feel uncomfortable with a certain order, or you feel like it's out of your area of expertise, it's okay to say no. You could always recommend somebody else that you might know who can do that, or maybe just be respectful, but just say, I'm sorry, this is not something I know of. And if you don't know anybody who could do it, you just wish that person the best. But staying true to yourself is very important. I always love to be transparent with whoever I'm speaking with, remaining kind, respectful, professional. Being a business owner is not just being about being goofy on social media, because I do a lot of that on social media. I love to be comedic with people. I love to be all pretty in my dresses and just very colorful and bubbly. But then also I love to show sides that's like, hey, at times it's not always like that. Yes, I will break down crying in my car. Do I feel uncomfortable posting that video? Absolutely. But I have to post it because I feel like it's something that can reach out to people and just show them you're not alone. I go through this too. So if you go through that, I'm here for you. You know, multiple people can be there for you. So I think it's really great if you can be transparent, if you could be real. Don't be fake. I really don't like it when people are fake. You know, if you could just be real with me, like, I love that. You know, you don't have to tell me your secrets or anything, but just have transparency to the point that I'm not like talking to somebody that's two-faced. You know, you show one side, but then I don't know the other, and then that other side might not be as good. So I always recommend to people, just be transparent, be real, and be yourself. So important within owning a business. And then I believe all of the fruits of your labor will be able to support who you are as a person and really come through your work. And I believe that's when people want to support you and want to look after you versus people just thinking she's just in this for the money or the fame or the likes, the comments, things like that. So I just always recommend stay true to yourself and just don't let other people tell you what to do in life. Just do what's best for yourself and your business, but in a positive way.
That's great to hear.
Yes.
And so for anyone that's wanting to do business with you or buy one of your cakes, where can they contact you or find you?
Yes, so I highly recommend for the moment, DMs are great. I'm coming to a point that eventually I don't think I'll be taking DMs, but right now I'm still fairly good at managing my social media account, so it's not too bad. So definitely DMs. I don't recommend calling me because at times it can be very hard to get a hold of me. So calling might be the worst thing. Email might be your second best thing. So DMs is number one, email is second, and then don't call me. I don't recommend calling me, which is why I will not be giving my phone number. But DMs and email is great, more than fine.
And can you just say your Instagram and your email for the viewers? So
Absolutely.
That we can put it on?
Yes. So my Instagram is Chez Peachy, or if this is better, Chez Peachy, whatever you prefer. Chez Peachy might give you a better idea of how to write it, but I'll spell it out Chez and then Peach with a Y at the end. And then my email address is the exact same thing, chezpeachy@gmail.com. So if you'd like to reach out to me, those are the two best platforms to do so, and I'd be happy to help. I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to get back to you within less than 24 hours. At times, it can take over 48 hours if I have a busy schedule, but I do try to get through it as best as possible within the 24-hour mark. So just a heads up.
Okay, and sadly we're all out of time.
Okay.
It went by so fast.
I'm so sorry. I'm
good.
so sorry about that.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? One last thought to the viewers before we end this?
Honestly, I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. And I think I've said what I need to say. I'm very sorry if I took a little bit of time. I'm a little bit of a chit-chatter. But I hope this was helpful to anybody looking for any sort of guiding through this journey of growing your business, whether you're in the cake industry or any other industry or social media in general. I really do pray that this helped you out, and I wish you guys the very best.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in. It was great talking to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Frecuencia Interna.